big announcements in the startup space today. I'm Priya Sheth and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Daily Dispatch. Now, the companies in focus today are Byju's, Uber, as well as Zomato. Now, another acquisition up its sleeve, EdTech startup Byju's has made its ninth acquisition of the year. The company has acquired coding platform Tinker to bolster its expansion in the US. Now, Tinker claims to have over 60 million kids on its platform and has partnerships with BBC Learning, Google, as well as Microsoft, among others. Now, Byju's has spent around $2 billion for 9 acquisitions in this year. Well, headline number 2, ride-hailing platform Uber is now venturing into the shuttle space. It has launched the Uber Corporate Shuttle, which is a bus service that offers seating for over 10 to 50 employees in one vehicle. With this venture, Uber aims to give firms an efficient way to handle their business travel, save on costs, and improve the employee experience. Well, headline number 3, Zomato has now announced that it will be putting its restaurant loyalty program on hold given the restrictions around dining amid this pandemic. Now, Zomato has said that it plans to come back with a better version of the program at the right time. Now, this announcement comes after the company shut down some of its key verticals recently, such as grocery as well as nutraceuticals. Well, moving on to our second segment, I have with me a very interesting company. I have with me Nitin Agarwal from Global Bees. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Daily Dispatch. I want to begin by talking to you about the $150 million that you all have raised. Tell us a little bit about what these funds are going to be utilized for and how the venture will really work, because I do understand that it's a very nascent venture and with a very interesting potential.
Hi Priya, pleasure to be here. So as Global Bees, I think what we are literally looking as we've seen the e-commerce grow in the country and across the world. We've seen a lot of investments happening in the retail players, and we have seen very significant and beautiful retail system being created. However, there is still very little which has happened towards the brand side. And when you look at capabilities to scale a brand as the ecosystem becomes more and more complex, it becomes increasingly complex to scale the brand. And the Global Bees vision is to create a large portfolio of innovative consumer brands which can literally create an impact across the world. And what Global Bees provides as an ecosystem, it's different when you scale a single brand, which is what all the D2C companies are doing. But I think we're taking it a step further. As a platform which can scale brands, when you look at consumer companies like Unilever's and P&G's of the world, they literally are able to create hundreds of brands, in the ecosystem and leverage that enterprise ecosystem. I think a similar ecosystem is required for the digital native or a digital first brands because the platforms are changing, the point of presence of customers is changing, and it requires a specialized skill. And that's what Global Bees will provide across the brand portfolio that it is building and investing in to provide that expertise not only in India but across the globe so that we are able to create impactful brands across the world.
Tell us a little bit about what's in the pipeline. Are there specific sectors that you're looking at, or what kind of investments can we expect?
Yeah, so look, there are certain sectors obviously we've started working with, but we essentially like certain categories and products which follow a certain thesis. We like consumer products which are repeatedly consumed by consumers at a certain frequency. We like products and categories where we find a longevity of SKU. Something like, for example, currently, if you take a high fashion, for example, where the SKU needs to be changed every 2 or 3 months, those are the categories which we kind of avoid. So something which is a digital friendly categories, I would say. And at the same time, there's a longevity of the SKUs and a very high repeat usage. And another criteria that we use to filter our categories is they have to be universally appealing and available, because our idea is not to just create an India focused brand, but a globally impactful brand. So a category which can work across the shores are something we like. Specific category to name where we are focusing right now, I think FMCG is a large play for us, and across the board when you look at FMCG, That will continue to be a big focus area, whether it is food, whether it is home, cleaning products, or beauty and personal care. That will be a large focus area for us. The home organization category, which is still a very, very unorganized category in this country. And it's a large category. There are subcategories under that. You can go from appliances to utensils to, home organization and so on and so forth. So that's a large portfolio play that we are very bullish on. Anything to do with sports and lifestyle, the healthy lifestyle, I think that's again a big focus area for us. So those are some of the example categories, but we essentially look at the characteristics that we talked about.
When you look at the kind of pipeline that you have for 2021, what's the kind of estimate as to how many brands would you be looking at investing and scaling? Because, of course, at this point in time, we are seeing lots of cash chasing startups. Valuations are also pretty high in this space.
Yeah, so there are 3 questions in saying how many startups. Honestly, I mean, when we started, we had certain number in mind in terms of how much we'll do, and we've already surpassed those annual targets that we had set up. So we're not chasing, to be honest, number of startups that we would do. But our real estimate is by the time we finish our first full year, we should be anywhere between 30-35 in terms of our investments, and we are pretty much tracking that kind of a pace right now. So on the valuation, yes, I think see, valuations goes through lot of factors. We've seen valuations go very very steep in the past as well, and they've corrected. So I think it is very important that we maintain a certain discipline, and that's what we're doing. We're not chasing valuations. We're not chasing companies with the FOMO. I think India as an ecosystem, I think there are enough and more kind of entrepreneurs which kind of need support and willing to align with us. And whatever you do, I think the number of entrepreneurs in India will far exceed by 100x with the number of funds that will be able to support them. So I think we're just being choosy and picky on that and not chasing valuations.
When you look at the kind of exit strategy that a firm like you would operate with, if you could give us some sense in terms of what kind of time frame are you looking at for exits, because scaling these brands will also take a specific amount of time, considering that these are newer age digital brands that we're talking about.
Yeah, so we do not scale the brands from the perspective of exiting the brands. I think we are operators of the brand, and we continue to kind of build a 20, 30 year and 50-year businesses with these brands. So there won't be exit strategy from the brands from that perspective. I think for our own investor perspective, yeah, obviously we're planning and hoping that we will do a IPO, and the company will be a IPO ready company in 3 years or 5 years from now.
Which company are you talking will go public? Are you talking about the brand?
I'm talking about GlobalBees. I'm talking about.
So
the brands are our operating platform, right? I mean, anybody, right? If you talk about Dabur, Marico's, these are great companies, and Imamis, right? You don't list a Zandu separately and etc., right? It's a platform which gets listed, and the brands are our operating businesses. 3 years is a little too aggressive. We haven't thought about it, to be honest, but yeah, we'll see IPO sooner than later, I would say.
Right. I also wanted to understand about this 150 million that you've raised recently. Will you be looking at a follow-on fundraise at this point in time?
See, essentially, apart from the amount, I think we've got a great partners and investors with us, and we're playing for a long-term vision with respect to the investors. Our existing investors have shown a great confidence and also a confidence to continue to invest as we scale the business. So yeah, as we scale the business and get more opportunities, we will raise follow-on rounds.
All right. On that note, many thanks for joining us today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and wish you all the very best. We'll be looking forward to your IPO as well in the next 3 to 4 years. Thanks so much for your time. Well, time now to say goodbye. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's Daily Dispatch. I'll catch you on Monday at 5 p.m. Goodbye and have a lovely weekend.